Alright, so I'll be doing a full playthrough of Detective Grimoire, which is a mystery point and click game. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't played a point and click game in what feels like ages, because I was pretty bad at them. I would just spam click on everything until I got it right, so we'll see how this goes. From what I understand, this game is actually a sequel to a Flash game that came out about, I want to say, 10 years ago. From what I hear, it was actually a pretty complex Flash game. I never played it, but I heard it was a pretty cool game. This game started as a Kickstarter about 4 years ago, and then it was released in January of 2014. It's been getting pretty good reviews from what I can tell. Everyone seems to be praising the story, the dialogue, the artwork and art style of the game especially, so I'm pretty interested in checking this game out. Also, I don't have $60 to drop on Doom right now. This game cost me about less than $2 on the Steam sale, so there's that. I'm going to try to keep the talking to a minimum. I don't want to distract or take away from the game in any way. I'll probably mention stuff that I like, that I don't like about it, kind of give like a review as I'm playing the game, but for the most part, I'm going to try and stay quiet for the majority of the game. I have a little save game already here. It was mostly just to test out my settings, but I didn't get really far in it, so I'll be pretty much going in blindly here. So I'll be quiet and we'll check this game out.
2025 last night, a murder occurred in a remote part of this swamp. A small tourist attraction, deep within the heart of the marsh.
Hold on. A tourist attraction? Here? I don't get it. Why would anyone come here by choice?
I've explained this already. This area is famous.
Famous. All I read was that some idiot thought they saw an alien here 100 years ago.
Get your facts straight for once. We're talking about a creature that's lived in this swamp for over 60 years.
Okay, so it's a 60-year-old alien. I still don't see why it matters.
If it matters to anyone, it's you. That creature is our prime suspect.
The murder suspect?
That's right. This is no Loch Ness monster. You need to be taking this seriously.
No, look, come on. How am I supposed to arrest something that might not exist?
You've always enjoyed a challenge before. You can start by reading this.
Our case file? There's not a lot of it, is there?
As usual, we only know the bare essentials at this point.
So far, the music reminds me, it's like a very whimsical Tim Burton movie. What's his name? Danny Elfman. It sounds like a very Danny Elfman-like soundtrack, so I like it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I like Tim Burton movies as well. Beetlejuice and I don't know, other ones.
Our murder victim, Richard Remington, he was in charge of this, tourist attraction. Boggy's Bog? What a name.
Boggy is the name of our creature. Well, nowadays it is.
You mean that stupid cartoon character? I've heard of him. That thing is our murder suspect?
There's more to Boggy than the cartoon character, I promise you. This is the place it all began. You'll find out soon enough.
I definitely do like the overall look of the game. I do
Your
like
case file is in the top right.
the art style and the overall feel of this game. So I'm pretty into it so far. It's like 5 minutes in.
You can look at your clues and suspect profiles in here. When you've collected some, of course. I'll stay and guard our boat, so if you're confused, come back here and I'll help you.
This fucking guy.
That's where I need to go. I can switch to walk mode with the button in the bottom right. Oh, and if I'm feeling confident, I can turn off those sparkly hit icons in the options menu.
Oh, I'll try to do my best, like during cutscenes or dialogue, to move the mouse cursor out of the way, because I know that bugs the shit out of me, so I'll try my best to do that every time, but no promises.
Oh! Wow, you didn't get lost yet.
No, I only just got here. Who are you?
You don't remember. Of course, you're not great at remembering. I should be offended, though.
I've never seen you before.
Saw your hat blow through here already. You must be slow, if it wouldn't even wait for you.
Well, if you'll let me, I'd better go after it. You can wait here and
You'll
behave.
get lost. I would never forgive myself if I let you go through without the map.
You have a map of the swamp?
Not anymore. I'm giving it to you.
You should really stay here. It's dangerous. There's been a murder. Although I suppose you know all about it already?
They're saying it was the creature, but it can't be him. He doesn't seem like a killing sort of creature. Nope. He's a different sort of creature.
Wait, what do you mean? If you... she disappeared. I might pretend I imagined her.
That girl that was just here, her voice sounded pretty familiar. It sounded like every female character in Cartoon Network shows back when I was growing up. I feel like it could just be me, but that's kind of the thing I was getting from her.
It's an old statue of Boggy. His feet are hidden in a bucket of murky water. The fence that seems to surround this entire area. I still don't quite understand why we have a tourist attraction here. Don't forget to use walk mode to move around. It's an opportunity for a photographic memento. The two characters are an explorer and Boggy himself. Are they fighting? Just my luck, the gate's closed. Looks like I can move these metal latches around. I should just have to slide at least one of them out of the bottom of the lock. Then I'll be able to get through this gate. Probably. Hey, nice. I might get one of these from my office. This is the tourist attraction? The whole thing just doesn't make sense to me. Let's do some thinking. Drag any two stray thoughts into those slots at the bottom. And flick through the connecting statements in between to make a sentence. Tap the confirm button to try it out. I just have to focus my thoughts and reach a conclusion. Boggy's Bog seems like the middle of nowhere.
Alright, so it looks like we got a couple of choices here that we input here and things. Let's try, where is it? No, that makes sense. I'll try it.
The swamp is far too remote for the murder to have happened. Oh, that doesn't make sense, does it?
At least they tell me that I'm wrong, so... let's try...
The swamp is far too remote for the tourist attraction to make any money. It's really bugging me. What's the story behind this place? There's a hollow part of the tree right at the front, but it's too dark to see inside. Apparently, there's a museum to the left and a cafe to the right. I'm not hungry, though. This place is putting me off food. Those trees are more dense. It's like a forest back there. Note to self, don't fall in. It's the base of a gigantic tree, and it's sitting in the very heart of the swamp. Was this entire place built around it? Those trees are more dense. I should visit the crime scene before I do anything else. I think Officer James said it was to the west. A rather prominent tree stump looming over the wooden pathway. It's hard to ignore. A rather prominent tree stump. It's hard. These flower petals seem a little out of place, lying on the ground over there. There's a narrow path here leading up that hill and through the trees. It doesn't look inviting. I'm not sure it's part of the tourist attraction. So, this is where they found Remington's body. There's an open window above Remington's body. One of the curtains is ripped and hanging on the outside. I can't get in here without a key, and I don't feel like kicking the door down. Maybe if I get desperate later on. There are bizarre footprints with 3 toes leading up to the office door, and back down into those reeds by the water. I don't like it here. What's this? There's a lockpick dropped amongst the weeds down here in the water. I just have to work out which vine to break and tap that button. That's the one. But I wonder where this lockpick came from. There are bizarre footprints with 3 and back down into those. The strange footprints stop right by these reeds. Maybe I should take a closer look. Maybe I can move some of them out of the way. A strange pair of green flippers, badly hidden in the reeds outside the office. I can't get in here without a key. Maybe if I get desperate later. some suspects. Let's get this investigation started.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's see. Another suspect for my notebook.
That's a little rude.
No, I'm sorry. Did I say that bit out loud?
Maybe not. Maybe I can hear your thoughts.
So would you be able to answer my questions before I asked you?
Would you be able to question my answers before I tell you?
I could try.
I'm Bobby Burl, professional cameraman. Pleased to meet you.
I'm Detective Grimoire. I'm here to investigate last night's murder. Obviously.
Grimoire. Strange. Is that your first name?
It's my second name. Detective is my first name. So you already told me what you do, but now, why would a cameraman be working here?
I go where I'm needed. Vincent wanted to come to the swamp, and I was happy to help.
Vincent Vanderpeer. You mean that man standing on that rock over there?
That's right. I've worked with him for many years.
Is he your boss?
Oh, I don't know about that. We work together. He's tried to film here before, but he never got permission until about a week ago.
Oh, really? But why did you want to come here in the first place?
If you're looking for a reason to write down in your notebook, I'm sure he can tell you if you ask him. I'm just the guy who carries around the camera.
You always carry that camera with you?
Most of the time.
You were here yesterday, I presume? Last night?
Yes, I was.
Here, in this clearing?
No, I was over at the cafe getting something to eat. Richard Remington was there too.
Remington? You saw him last night? Just before the murder?
That's right, I saw him. He left the cafe looking rather ill. I offered to help, but he just wanted to go back to his office. He looked like he had a lot on his mind.
He was ill yesterday?
Perhaps it was something he ate. What is it? Some evidence from last night's murder? What? Yes, do you have a message for me?
No. I don't think so.
Then why are you here? I'm incredibly busy.
You don't look it. Who are you, anyway?
What a question. You're serious? I am Vincent Vanderpeer.
The famous movie director?
The artist, the visionary, the auteur. I'm a man of many talents.
That is a very talented beard you've got, at least.
You're in my light. Could you take a few steps back, please?
But then I'd be too far away to talk to you.
I know.
Can anyone just walk in here and start filming?
I feel like this is gonna be my downfall. I feel like I'm not really good at my eyebrows. Right. Oh, wait.
Vincent Vanderpeer only recently got permission from Richard Remington to film here in the swamp. I wonder if Mr. Vanderpeer has been breaking rules. Or maybe he'll have an excuse.
What?
What's a famous guy like you doing in a place like this?
Quite. I'm sure you're thinking, why doesn't he send an assistant? But that's not the way this director works.
But what are you doing?
I'm feeling, I'm experiencing, I'm discovering. This area, the history, the atmosphere, it's the perfect setting for my next film. I'm on a scouting mission to get to know this swamp before I begin work on the latest masterpiece in a string of masterpieces.
You're making a movie about Boggy. About the swamp creature?
Of course. He's a fascinating individual, isn't he? So mysterious.
No idea. I haven't met him yet. Is that your cameraman over there?
Yes, that's right. Bobby Burl, my faithful right-hand man. Well, faithful enough, you know.
No, I don't know.
He's an expert cameraman. Really knows his trade, of course. But he gets a bit muddled when it comes to priorities.
Like how? You mean he's lazy? He doesn't look lazy. He looks a bit scary.
Oh no, nothing of the sort. He just has a little hobby that sometimes distracts him from his work. But I wouldn't want anyone else shooting for me.
Were you working yesterday? Here in the swamp, I mean?
Indeed I was working, very hard indeed, well into the night.
Hard work, is it? Getting to know the swamp?
You jest, but yesterday I was getting even more involved than usual, yes. Difficult to comprehend, I know.
So what kind of work were you doing?
Well, I was, unable to find my faithful cameraman last night. He had hidden himself quite completely from view.
Bobby Burl, right? Did you need him to film for you?
Always, but being a resourceful type of man, I stepped up and took on the responsibility myself. I was filming in this exact area, in fact.
You were filming? Last night? Here?
Yes, at the time of the murder, I believe. But wait, I know what you're thinking. Now, don't forget, I'm not here to shoot some experimental documentary. I have no interest in late-night surveillance footage.
Did you see anything at all? What is it you were filming?
The water. I was filming the water. It's a fascinating subject, one that has me captivated to the point where
So, you didn't see anything useful? Got excited there for a minute.
Nothing useful to you, my good detective, but there are some odd sounds on the audio track. Nothing but wild animals going about their nighttime rituals, I'm sure.
Is there something I should ask the cameraman? Vincent Vanderpeer told me that Bobby Burl was nowhere to be found last night. Simple enough. What was Mr. Burl doing last night that meant he couldn't help out his boss?
When he reads those statements, it reminds me of like those automated voice calls that you get where like it fills in, where it's like, this message is for Steven. Like, it just reminds me of that.
I heard this isn't the first time you've tried to film here.
Where? In the swamp? What are you talking about?
Remington has denied you the filming permission in the past.
Oh, that. Nothing but the natural process of being in a profession like mine. Every situation simply requires the right approach before the gears start turning smoothly. You understand, I'm sure.
Why did Remington not want you filming here? And why did he change his mind?
It wasn't even up to him. This area is protected, you know. There are certain rules, certain regulations. I encounter this kind of thing all the time, really.
That doesn't explain why he changed his tune. It's a little suspicious.
Why would you say that?
A famous movie director suddenly gets his way. I wonder how that happened. Time to use my notebook. Just drag an item onto the paper to draw the idea. Right, that's the one. I think you bribed Remington to get the filming rights.
Well, bribe is a strong word. It was just a little arrangement between friends. Nothing worth getting upset about. I simply promised him a cut of my next movie's profits. It made sense, since he owned the area anyway. Just a favor for a favor.
So you would have owed him money.
Only a small percentage, simply out of courtesy. And not for a long time, either. I don't know if it's any use to you at all. I'll film again tonight and try to get a version without all those bizarre noises in the background. He's been working with me for a number of years. A real expert, of course.
I heard from Mr. Vanderpure over there that you were nowhere to be found last night.
Didn't I say I was at the cafe?
Yeah, you did. But your director needed you for some filming, and he couldn't find you. What were you doing that was so important?
Well, let's see. After I ate, I had a walk around the swamp. I didn't have my camera, so I was free to stretch my legs for once.
Where was your camera? Don't you carry it around with you all the time?
No, not all the time.
You left it with Vanderpure, and he used it instead that night.
That's right, he was looking after that camera. So I went for a late-night stroll. This place is beautiful in the evenings.
You just walked around? You didn't do anything? Didn't see anyone?
Well, I can't say that. I have various ways to pass the time, you know.
Vanderpure said you had a hobby on the side.
Is that what he said? Well, yes, he's right. I brought 2 cameras with me when I came here. I left my video camera, yes, but I have another one. It's much smaller, and it only takes black and white photographs. You know the kind I mean?
A really old one?
Yes, I suppose so. I've always enjoyed traditional photography, and this place is a wonderful opportunity to take some pictures of a natural environment.
So, you were having some time off to take black and white photographs? For fun?
Only one photograph. You have to be disciplined when you're not using a digital camera.
Can I see it?
Of course. I took it near the woods at the back of the swamp. It's quite an interesting shot, but the light qualities weren't perfect. Here we are. Feel free to take a look.
Wait, what? This is a photo?
I haven't developed it yet. I only took it last night. Just brush the developing fluid over the photo to reveal the image.
What? Is that Boggy? The swamp creature just standing in the water?
It could be. Personally, I'm not convinced, but I'll let you decide for yourself.
You've arrived at a bad time, my friend. For once, they don't actually want tourists walking around this place.
I always arrive at a bad time. It's what I do. I'm a detective, not a tourist.
My apologies. It's just, you have the same wide-eyed expression as the kids that come here. Running around, spending their parents' money, you know.
Well, it's not every day I visit a swamp full of such unique specimens.
It's no problem. You're just thinking what we all thought when we arrived for the first time.
Why didn't they put in a bathroom?
No, you're thinking, this place is beautiful. What a lucky man I am to be here.
I am I? Well, if you say so.
Edward Everstone, at your service.
That's a pretty cool name. Can I call you Ed?
You don't need to. Everyone just calls me Echo.
Wait, what the fuck? Why? Okay.
Why? Because you're a good swimmer?
What? No. Because I always come back. Again and again, until my job is done.
You're protesting, right?
I certainly am. And now that you're here, I'm getting you involved.
What does that mean? Yeah, I haven't got time to hold up signs for you. I'm sorry.
You simply have to hear my message and take it with you.
Go ahead. I'm all ears. Plus, I have a little notebook.
What was the first thing you felt when you saw the sign for Boggy's Bog looming over you?
Well, I thought it was...
Not thought. Felt.
I felt... Well, something seemed wrong. There wouldn't be a tourist attraction in the middle of a swamp like this. There shouldn't be.
My job is done. Clearly your brain is working perfectly, Detective.
So you're against the tourist attraction? Yeah, let's see. You'd rather this area was kept as a natural habitat, right?
Right again. And that precise word, habitat. First and foremost, I'm protesting for animal rights.
Well, okay, I'm following you, but it's not like they're cutting down trees or anything like that, right?
All animals deserve the right to live in peace, and I promise you, on a normal day, this place is far from peaceful.
Are you talking about the swamp creature? About Boggy?
A creature like that. He's earned the right to be left alone. We're fools to invite ourselves into his home like this on a daily basis, assuming he's not going to mind. Assuming he'll keep to himself and let us walk around with his face on our t-shirts.
Well, I agree. I think he should be left alone. But like you said, he can probably handle himself. And if no one has even seen him in 60 years, I don't really see the problem.
Unlike you, Detective, I never had an academic calling in life. I was never even a talented artist or musician or anything. So instead, I made the decision to stand up for those who were getting a raw deal.
I like when he was talking, it got all Shakespearean dramatic and it went all black. That was pretty, I don't know.
You come here every day.
Yes, I do.
Well, I'm only going to ask you about one of those days. What were you doing yesterday evening?
I was here at my protest spot until fairly late. Then I went to get something to eat at Harper's Cafe before I...
Wait, you ate at the cafe here? Doesn't supporting a tourist attraction like that kind of go against your protest?
A man has to eat, doesn't he? I don't think the meager contributions of one person are going to keep this place afloat. Especially now.
And you're sleeping here? Doesn't it get cold at night?
Well, I came prepared, of course. I usually find myself with 1 or 2 extra layers to wear. Most of this bulk is padding, I promise you.
I'm sure it is. So you stayed here the whole night?
That's right. And I admit I may have heard some stranger than usual sounds floating around the swamp last night.
What kind of sounds?
It's impossible to say. This place fills with the most terrifying sounds at night. Hundreds of animals, some tiny, some much larger, awaken and make their own protests. Every night until the sun rises in the morning.
Insects make noises at night. Okay, I've written it down.
show it to somebody else. You're asking the wrong person. The murder victim.
Since last night, yeah. But he was the owner of Boggy's Bog. Did you know him?
Not personally. To be honest, I'm quite glad about it. You're wasting your time with that one.
Boggy is my prime suspect, you know. The creature you're trying to protect.
Protect is the wrong word. If your suspicions were correct, we could both agree he's a creature that doesn't need protecting.
You think he might be the murderer?
I think he's a wild animal, and he wants to be left alone at any cost.
Looks like this path leads towards the northwest corner of Boggy's Bog. I can't wait. Looks like this path leads... I'm impressed someone managed to pitch a tent here. And I'm impressed someone would want to. It's a colorful, Boggy-themed padlock. He's staring into my soul. It should open if I set the right number.
Alright, I'll probably stop here right now for this segment. So far, I do really like the game. The story actually, for, as simple as it seems, it's actually been pretty interesting to see how it unfolds. I like the characters, I like the look of them, and I like all their personalities. I definitely do like, though, the artwork of the game, like all the backgrounds, the music. It's just a very... just pleasing game to me so far, so I'm excited to go further with it. I'm not doing too bad as far as pointing and clicking goes, I feel like. I think I've had maybe a couple misfires here and there, but nothing too terrible, so hopefully it's tolerable. I hope I stayed quiet enough while I was playing. I tried to not talk while they were talking, and try to bring up points that I liked about stuff I've seen so far. And I'll try keeping it the same for the rest of the videos. But for now, I'll end it here, and I will start another time when I got time, or something.